Don't Breathe 2, sequel to the 2016 horror film. This one does not have Fede Alvarez returning as the director, although he did co-write and co-produce the movie. The director chair is taken over by Rodo Sayagüez in his feature film debut, and I have to say, he does a fairly good job. The story takes place years after the events of the previous film, which the blind man did obviously survive. At the beginning, we see a teenage girl escaping the house through the woods, running away from the dog, almost making it out until the blind man catches her. But the twist is, they were playing. Apparently she is his daughter, although knowing what we know from the previous movie, we can probably expect some sort of sick twist here. And he's just training her to be able to survive danger. Seems like overkill? Yes, definitely, until one day a bunch of army vets show up at the house ready to fuck shit up. Suddenly the girl is in danger, the blind man is trying to protect her and himself, but the attackers are not just capable and ruthless, they also seem to know quite a lot about who the blind man actually is. So, usually following up a good horror film is quite difficult and sequels end up much worse very quickly. I'm pleased to say that this is not the case here. I enjoyed this film very much, and I think it's a worthy successor to the unexpectedly awesome first part. Some of the things are very similar. The idea of the ruthless blind man fucking up fools with his skills and other people trying to navigate around him exploiting his blindness. The really tight execution in terms of camera work and editing. There's a sequence here really early on when the invaders first come to the house and the girl tries to evade them. And it's this single unbroken shot that goes on for like 5 minutes or something. And it follows her sneaking from one hiding place to another. I was really very impressed with that scene. And finally, there's the interesting thing that the movie does with who we want to root for. In the first film, at the beginning, I was like, well, these guys are burglars, so I'm going to root for the blind man because he's clearly in the right here. Then the basement reveal happens, and I was like, shit, he's a monster, so I should actually root for the burglars. But then they proceeded to be greedy and immoral anyway, which led to this fascinating situation where nobody is really innocent. A similar thing happens again here. With the prior knowledge that we have, we are immediately conflicted on the blind man, who's, he's very protective of his daughter and clearly cares about her. But of course, we know who he really is. And I saw some people being wary of this in the trailer because, that they're making the blind man the good guy now. I don't think that's the case. I think he's a complicated character because he is still very much a monster, but there are some twisted, fucked up traces of humanity in him. And then the army guys show up, and I was again flipping back and forth. They're monsters. They actually have a point. Are they actually the good guys here? No, they're pretty much monsters as well. I like this aspect. I think it kept me on edge, emotionally speaking. It kept me slightly uneasy. Now, there are also things that changed compared to the previous film. It has more action, it has more violence, and it ups the stakes. Previously, the blind man was up against 3 teenage robbers. This time, he has to fight a bunch of seasoned army vets with guns. And I know for sure some people will criticize the film for this change, but I really liked it. I thought it helped keep things different. It raised the stakes, but it also helped with the movie's pacing, I think. See, in the original, because there were so few characters, we had the same confrontations happen several times, which at some point began to be kind of ridiculous and overdrawn. I mean, how many times does the same guy just stand up and fight the same girl, right? The sequel improves on the pacing by having more people in the film and more set pieces, and each of the confrontations is quick, simple, and to the point, and the movie doesn't have to repeat them, and it also doesn't run out of them so quickly. It has a better flow, I thought. It's also way more graphically violent, by the way, so fair warning, there are scenes that will make you squirm. So, to sum all of this up, I really like this film, basically as much as I did the original. I think it keeps a lot of what made the first film great while doing new stuff in a way that works equally as well. Good stuff.